Who has the toughest schedule in college football this year? Now, a lot of you have paid attention to Florida. I'll get to them in a second. But let me just say, I don't think Cal plays the toughest lineup of teams. I don't think UCLA plays the toughest lineup of teams. But man, 26 of 32 NFL teams this year will travel fewer miles than Cal will. And they play several more road games than Cal does. Cal will nearly circumnavigate the globe this year. The Earth, circumference-wise, is 24,900 or so miles around, for those of you that believe in that sort of thing. Cal will nearly travel that many miles this year. UCLA, still even worse than that. So circumnavigating the globe for conference play, plus a little token trip to Hawaii for UCLA, that's where we are. That's where we are. Once upon a time, conferences were about regionality and territoriality, and now it's about flying halfway to the moon. Just to play Rutgers. No, we have no problem with Rutgers. Florida has the toughest schedule in the country. Okay, let's not beat around the bush any longer. Florida, listen to this. Sorry, that was not a viable paper pop. There we go. So the JP poll came out last week. Obviously the most reputable poll known to mankind. Florida plays 10 of my top 30 teams this year. Every game from October on is against a top 30 team. Every game. They play the top 2 teams in the ACC just as an added out-of-conference bonus. They play Miami and Florida State. Those are my top 2 teams in the ACC. This is the worst one. So I've got them power rated 21. Florida, quality of team, forget the schedule. The quality of Florida's team, I've got them power rated 21 in the JP poll in the preseason. Number 21 team plays 8 teams rated ahead of them. 2/3 of Florida's schedule consists of teams rated higher than number 21. And yet I will have Casual Carl walk in this building every day of the week and tell me, not Carl Reed, by the way. Casual Carl is a fictitious person. But Casual Carl will stroll up to you and say to your face, you are what your record says you are. You know Florida could win the Big 12, right? If I just took them and plopped them in the Big 12, they could win the whole thing. And they would be a Power 4 conference champ. Instead, they have to essentially play the Kansas City Chiefs schedule. There's a hidden story here, though. For all the warranted attention that Florida's schedule is getting, you know whose schedule isn't that far behind, and it's Georgia. And that hadn't been a headline lately. Georgia's had a pretty easy schedule because they've been in a terrible division, and the division doesn't exist anymore. Georgia faces 7 teams in the top 25 to win the national title at FanDuel right now. They got the odds listed to win the national title. Georgia faces 7 of those teams. Georgia faces 6 teams I have rated 21 or higher, and 5 of those 6 games are away from Athens. So they go to Texas. They go to Bama. They go to Ole Miss. They got Clemson in Atlanta. They got Florida in Jacksonville. The only game they play in Athens, which one is it? Tennessee. Tennessee they get in Athens after they go to Oxford, by the way. So that is a tough road to hoe, as Meemaw would say. Georgia Tech is a case study team this year. Georgia Tech is a sneaky good team that probably doesn't have much of a shot in the ACC because of their schedule. They face 6 teams in the top 25 odds to win the whole thing. They got Notre Dame and Georgia in their out-of-conference schedule. They play 6 of the top teams. They play 6 of the 8 top teams in the ACC. Now, I want you to compare that. So here's how crazy the difference in scheduling is. The difference in strength of schedule in college football, it makes or breaks your season. So I just read you Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's playing Notre Dame and Georgia. They got 6 of the top 8 teams in their conference. Now I want you to compare that to Syracuse. Syracuse plays Ohio, Holy Cross, UNLV, and UConn in out-of-conference play. They do not face Clemson. They do not face Florida State. And they get Virginia Tech and Miami at home. What if I just gave Georgia Tech that schedule? How different would the expectation level be with Haynes King coming back? A lot of close losses last week. He even played Georgia tough last year. Last year. But that ain't the way it is because schedule is that disproportionate in the sport. Mississippi State, just pray now. Just start saying your prayers now. Brutal road schedule here. So they go to Arizona State in week 2 as an out-of-conference game. They're just going from Starkville to Tempe. Probably not many direct flights for the fan base. They've got a road game at Texas. They've got a road game at Georgia. They've got a road game at Tennessee. They've got a road game at Ole Miss. I'm not done. Then they come home and get to play Missouri and Texas A&M and Florida. That's 7 teams in the top 21 of the JP poll. Texas is number 4, Georgia number 1, Tennessee 14, Ole Miss 8. They play all those teams on the road, and they get number 13, 15, and 21 at home. Who in their right mind made that schedule? I don't know. So those are the toughest schedules to me in the country.